Hello everyone and welcome to Brilliant's online edu classes. I'm here with the second part of the story, ATTILA, for class 6 English. So children, in the previous part we read about a dog named ATTILA, why the family got this dog because they wanted the house to be protected, but as the dog grew up, he didn't give up the actions which can prove their expectations, right? So he was not barking at all at a stranger coming. He was very human friendly, more than what is required. So by the end of that part, the mother of that family, she had already got quite irritated of the dog, and she started saying that this dog one day would bring the burglar, show the house around, and then would help in burglary rather than protecting it, right? So that was a statement out of frustration and anger. And then the first part ended with a statement that that very night it proved true that what mother said was correct, right? So now we will proceed on to the next part of the story. So in the next part of the story, a new character is being introduced named Ranga. Ranga lived in a hut 3 miles from the town. He was a gang coolie, often employed in road mending. Gang coolie, you might have seen the laborers working in group for the construction projects or mending the roads and all. So he was just one of them. Occasionally at nights he enjoyed the thrill and profit of breaking into house. So at night he used to enjoy the adventure as well as the benefit that he would get in breaking into house. Breaking into means to enter somebody's house stealthily without permission, normally with an intention of stealing. At 1 o'clock that night, Ranga removed the bars of a window of the house and slipped in. Right? So that night at 1 o'clock, Ranga, he removed the bars, the iron rods which were put up on the window. He removed the bars of one of the house and he slipped in. That is, he silently entered inside. He edged along the wall, searched all the trunks and almirahs in the house, and made a neat bundle of all the jewelry and other valuables he could pick up. So he searched everything over there. Whatever he found was precious, like the jewelry and other things, he neatly made a bundle out of it. He was just starting to go out. He had just put 1 foot out of the gap he had made in the window when he saw ATTILA standing below, looking up expectantly. So he had completed making the bundle. He was just about to move out of the window when he saw this dog ATTILA standing there, not barking at all and looking with lots of expectation towards the burglar. Ranga thought his end had come. He expected the dog to bark, but not ATTILA. Right? So any normal person, what we will think if at all we see a dog, that dog will bark. So Ranga also thought in the same manner, but we have read that this is not ATTILA, means ATTILA is not going to bark because he was so human friendly. He thought that barking upsets the person, terrifies the person, so he had stopped barking or even moving towards them. Okay. He waited for a moment, grew tired of waiting, stood up and put his forepaws on the lap of the burglar. Right? So we read before in the previous part that the dog was very human friendly and wanted a lot of attention from the human beings. So the dog was waiting, looking at the burglar, that now the burglar would pat him, stroke him lovingly. Right? And when nothing happened, because burglar was terrified that if the dog barks, then what? He would be caught. Right? So the burglar was not doing anything. So the dog waited for some time and then the dog initiated. He put his forepaws on the lap of the burglar. He put back his ears, licked Ranga's hands and rolled his eyes. So he showered all his love on the burglar. Ranga whispered, I hope you aren't going to bark. So Ranga understood that the dog is behaving very gently in a very mild manner. So Ranga whispered that I'm sure you are not going to bark, right? Don't you worry, I'm not the sort, the dog tried to say. So children, here you can see that humorous note with which the author is writing, that now the dog as if wanted to reply that I am not that type of dog, so you need not worry. Right, so the humor is, see children, a dog who is not barking, who doesn't want to bark, seeing the stranger also. Just a moment, let me get down from here, said the burglar. The dog obligingly took away his paws and lowered himself. See there, said Ranga, pointing to the backyard, there is a cat. Attila put up his ears at the mention of the cat and dashed in the direction indicated. So children, the burglar now wanted to move away from the house as fast as possible, but this dog was not letting him go. So the burglar had to distract the dog. So the burglar said that just a moment, if you just let me get down from here. So the dog obligingly followed the order. He lowered his paws. After that, to distract the dog, Ranga said that, look, there is a cat. Now the moment the word cat was mentioned, Attila was very attentive and he dashed in the direction which was shown by Ranga. One might easily have thought that he was going to tear up a cat, but actually he didn't want to miss the pleasure of the company of a cat if there was one. So anybody listening to this would have thought that if a dog is dashing towards cat, why? To attack, right? Ferociously, violently. But here Attila was not going there for this purpose. Rather, he enjoyed the company of a cat. So he didn't want to miss this pleasure. As soon as the dog left him, Ranga made a dash for the gate. Given a second more, he would have hopped over it. But the dog turned and saw what was about to happen and in one spring was at the gate. So as dog left towards the direction, Ranga made a dash. He moved speedily towards the gate and it was like he was about to hop over the gate, but then the dog turned and he saw what is happening, and in one spring, that is in fraction of second, the dog was standing at the gate now. He looked hurt. Is this proper? He seemed to ask, do you want to shake me off? So it was like the dog was not happy that why are you trying to get rid of me? Shake me off means to get rid of, right? He hung his heavy tail down so loosely and looked so miserable that the burglar stroked his head, at which he revived. So the dog was very upset that why is he behaving like this? Why he is trying to avoid me? He looked miserable. So the burglar again stroked his head lovingly, at which he revived, means all the energy and excitement came back. The burglar opened the gate and went out and the dog followed him. So the burglar now opened the gate and he went out, but this dog also followed the burglar. Now two words we came across, shake off, to get rid of something undesirable, something which you don't like. Revived means to regain the strength and energy. Attila's greatest ambition in life was to wander in the streets freely. Now was the best opportunity. So children, in this lockdown you might be also experiencing the same, no? Being in the home, it's so boring. Mother, father might not be allowing you to go out to play also. So think about this Attila. He was also locked in the house. He is not allowed to move out and he always wanted to move freely in the streets. So this was such a good opportunity. So he also started following the burglar. Attila liked his new friend so much that he wouldn't leave him alone even for a moment. So Attila grew very fond of this burglar and was not ready to leave him even for a minute also. He lay before Ranga when he sat down to eat, sat on the edge of his mat when he slept in his hut, waited patiently on the edge of the pond when Ranga went there now and then for a wash, slept on the roadside when Ranga was at work. So wherever Ranga went, whether he is eating or he is sleeping or he is going to the pond for washing or if he is at work, Attila would be with him everywhere. This sort of companionship got on Ranga's nerves. Now to get on nerves means children to get irritated. Now if somebody is constantly with you, going with you everywhere, won't you get irritated? So this fellow also got irritated that this dog was not ready to leave him at all. He implored, "Oh dog, leave me alone for a moment, won't you?" Unmoved, Attila sat before him with his eyes glued on his friend. Glued means fixed. So burglar was telling him that please leave me. But Attila would constantly look at him as if his eyes have been fixed to look at him. Attila's disappearance created a sensation in the bungalow. So what was happening here in the house? So it was a sensation that where has the dog gone then? "Didn't I tell you," the mother said, "to lock him up?" So the mother is saying, the youngest one, that I told you to lock him up. Now some burglar has gone away with him. Okay, so the mother was so irritated with the dog that she is saying that he and the burglar has gone with the dog also. Now some burglar has gone away with him. What a shame. We can hardly mention it to anyone. So mother is saying that how shameful it would be when we'll tell people that our pet dog who was expected to bark when the burglar would have entered, instead the dog has also gone with the burglar. "You are mistaken," replied the defender. Defender means, children, we read before, it means supporter. And who is referred to here? The youngest boy, the youngest son of the family is mentioned here. "It is just a coincidence. He must have gone off on his own account. If he had been here, no thief would have dared come in." So the young boy is justifying and supporting Attila now also that no, both means burglary and disappearance, it's just a coincidence that it has happened altogether, but there is no connectivity. And maybe Attila has left before, because if Attila would have been there, there was no possibility of any thief entering. Children, was this defender correct? Was he correct? No, right? He is not correct because Attila was there and Attila actually didn't bark at the burglar. Rather, Attila chose to follow the burglar and moved away. Whatever it is, I don't know if we shouldn't after all thank the thief for taking away that dog. Now the mother was so angry, she said that it can be that we should thank that thief who has taken this dog. Why? Because there was no use keeping such dog. He may keep the jewels as a reward for taking him away. So the mother, you can understand and realize the anger of the mother. The mother said that okay, whatever jewelry he has taken, I will think that it is a reward I have given him to take away that dog from here. Shall we withdraw the police complaint? So she says that shall we take back the complaint? There is no point. All this fun came to an end a week later and Attila rose to the ranks of a hero. See, after a week of this incident, initially you can you just heard me saying that what all were the discussions going on. Somebody supporting the mother, rather getting angry and saying it's good the dog has been taken. But after a week, something happened that this dog suddenly became the hero of the house. Now how? What happened? The eldest son of the house was going towards the market one day. He saw Attila trotting behind someone on the road. Trotting means walking slowly. So the eldest son of the house, he went to the market and he saw that this dog was following someone. Who was he following? Yes, he was following Ranga, right? So he was following Ranga, and the eldest son saw that this dog is following someone. "Hey!" shouted the young man, at which Ranga turned and broke into a run. Right, so the moment the young man said, "Hey," who is this young man? The eldest son. He said, "Hey," and Ranga turned, and he is a thief, so he thought that maybe somebody has identified or something, and so he broke into a run. Here broke into will mean to immediately run with a high speed. Attila, who always suspected that his new friend was waiting for the slightest chance to desert him, galloped behind Ranga. Right? So Attila always thought that Ranga is trying to avoid him and might leave him if he gets the chance. So the moment Ranga ran fast, Attila also started following him with the same pace. "Hey Attila," shouted the young man, and he also started running, and the eldest son, he also started running. So broke into means begin to do something suddenly. He suddenly started running with high speed. Galloped means to run quickly. Attila wanted to answer the call after making sure of his friend, and so he turned his head for a second and galloped faster. Now Attila wanted to reply to the eldest son, but first he wanted to make sure that the friend is with him. So he turned his head, but then again he galloped faster. Ranga dreadfully doubled his pace. Pace means speed. But Attila was determined to stick to him at any cost. So Ranga increased his speed of running. Attila also increased his speed because he never wanted to lose this friend. As a result, he ran so fast that he overtook Ranga and clumsily blocked his way, and Ranga stumbled over him and fell. So Attila ran so fast that he could overtake Ranga, and he blocked Ranga's way, and Ranga couldn't balance and he fell over him. Now the meaning of dreadfully is extremely, and clumsily it means in a awkward manner, in a very uncomfortable manner. As Ranga rolled on the ground, a piece of jewelry which he was taking to a receiver of stolen property flew from his hand. So actually where Ranga was going, he was going to sell off a piece of jewelry which he has stolen from the Attila's owner's house. Right? So that one piece of jewelry, it rolled out from his hand. The young man, the eldest son of the family, he immediately recognized that this particular jewelry is of his sister. Right? So the young man sat down on Ranga. A crowd got collected. The police came. Attila was the hero of the day. So everybody thought that Attila actually was following him to catch hold of him because he was the thief. But actually the reason was something else. We have read that he was not interested in getting him trapped at all. He was actually wanting him to be his friend. But everybody thought that he was the one, because of him the burglar could be caught. So he became the hero. Even the lady of the house softened towards him. She said, "Whatever one might say of Attila, one has to admit that he is a very cunning detective." So the mother, who was getting angry on Attila, now she also says that whatever people say, but he is a very good detective. He is too deep for words. It was good that Attila had no powers of speech. Right? So here the author is writing that it is good that Attila cannot speak, because otherwise he would have told maybe that what is the reality. Otherwise, he would have told his woeful story and lost the position of a hero. So, he would have told this story of what happened, and then people would not have considered him as the hero. Right? So, children, this was the story we read about how a dog became hero without using much of wit or intelligence at all. Right? The homework for you is, you will have to answer these two questions in your notebook. First one is, do you think animals can be our friends? Justify with this lesson and write it in your notebook. Second question is, write about the author of this lesson in your notebook. Children, the author of this lesson, R.K. Narayan, he is a very well known author. You might have heard and read stories like Swami and his friends and all. So, these Malgudi days, this is all written by him. So, you will have to collect information about the author and you will have to write it in your notebook. Okay, children? So, happy learning. Thank you.